This particular video is a guide to business loans, and we will be starting with business loans mainly because my content and my niche, mostly focus on business and entrepreneurial journey. Of course, we will be continuing with many other loans and types of loans that are there. And mainly the importance of business loans, because I want to be convincing you before we go further into the topic, because the importance of business loan is just something that everyone should understand before continuing with any process of how to get a loan out there in any banks, be it public or private sector banks. So, why is business loan so important? Because as we all have known that those big companies out there, they all rely on something known as an investor or something known as leveraging or a big chunk of money from banks. And secondly, to any business owners out there, I want to be, telling you this, because you don't just start a business with someone else's money. You either have to work somewhere first and, of course, put in something that is your money into the business, and not just taking loans from the banks and, trying to do everything from the bank. Maybe there are times where I've, trying to only use the bank's money and set up a business and run a business, which is really something that is not good, is what I have experienced in my past life. So I want to be starting with that, and we'll go to the major topic, where some documents and process of taking a business loan, especially in tier 3s. Of course, in big cities, if you have some, of course, this applies to almost every public bank, and private sector banks are not something that I really wish to recommend, and because the interest rates are usually high. And public banks like SBI or some, SBI is something very big out there, so we will be focusing with SBI in public sectors. First thing, before we go into the documents, you have to choose which particular bank you want to take. Of course, I recommend the public, but there is also this thing where in our area or in many local areas, tier 3 cities or some towns or small towns or cities, there is this thing where if you have more relation or connection with the banker out there, or the one who's giving loan, or any relation if we have towards that particular bank, then, well, of course we can't deny, right? If they understand us, then they give us the loan, and easy process. So you have to understand that it is very important to give it or go and approach to the one who you think is gonna be more approachable. Yeah, because there is, I won't say literally, but there is some sort of bias thing, if you all understand. So they will test you and be asking you several questions. You have to be good in replying and understand some few things that is going out inside your business and how things work, and giving a good response to the banker that is going to be asking you some few questions. Because this bank, the banker and the bank will be giving you money, and then they don't simply want to be giving you money away, take. I don't think they would like to do that. So you should come prepared and understand something about this business thing, and what is happening inside a business is very important. And we'll go for the most important thing when being asked question by the bank, because see, you have to do this thing called letting them know, or do this thing called, I should say, think wise, because in a business main concept is making profit, and this thing, that concept should also be implemented into the banker's mind, and you should convince him that your business is profitable, and then it will make income, is one of the main thing that you have to improvise or tell the banker when asking this question. And in taking loans, there are some few things that's going to come, but in taking loans, as you approach the bank, I think Mudra is one of the most common business loans out there now. And while taking loan, don't go too low, don't go too high. 10 lakhs is something that I would like to recommend to most of the business owners out there who are starting with a loan, because in taking loans there are so many process paperwork and yeah, just there are gonna be so many things, so you cannot take again often. So, and it is also gonna be from period of 3 to 5 years usually. So you either, if you go for low like 5 lakhs, you, that is not gonna be, good enough to be a very good investment into this market, because the economy, money is needed, and 5 lakh honestly for a good business to be flourishing out there in the market and competing, I think 10 lakh is something that is really good to start. And if you go for so much also, your business might not be good enough, and it might not be able to keep up with the EMIs, because rent plus EMIs plus staff salaries and some electric bills, and when it comes, because just the EMI above 10 lakhs will be around at least 20 to 30,000 per month. With the rent 50,000, staff employees, yeah, if it goes 50,000 plus in a small market or in a small town where business is not as good as those tier 1 cities, don't go above 10 lakh is the thing that I want to say. Before going into, and then this is the documents that that the bank are gonna ask: trade license. And I will assume that most of you have your trade license, but you can skip this part if you have a trade license. But for those of you who does not have a trade license is something that is being issued by the town committee of every districts, and I'm sure this applies to many districts. And even when getting your trade license, of course, starting can be in the A, B, C, D, even in the D tier also it can be done. And D tier is someone for the starters or the business owners who are just recently starting. And this D tier, sometimes if you don't opt for C or B or A, sometimes your loan, the amount of loan that you'll be getting is not being issued by the bank in a higher amount. Okay, if you don't select C or maybe B, and then if you go for D, but I think D likely to be okay with 10 lakhs. And trade license works in such a way that the town committee will be issuing you. I have a trade license here, and I will be showing you this thing in proper. And the main thing that is needed in this trade license is something known as an Aadhaar card, tribe certificate, domicile, voter card, anyone, then NOC, which is usually taken from the village authorities, and something that is being issued by the village of no objection certificate. Okay, and undertaking a non-judicial paper, something like this, and undertaking of a non-judicial paper, stamp paper, which is very important. And lastly, of course, your passport to be pasted in the trade license. Yeah. Then second thing about this trade license, it is very important, and the town committee of Senapati, and I think most of the other town committees in other states also should be doing this. I'm sure there are a lot of town committees doing this, but the Senapati especially has come up with this good idea where there are many people who are trying to lie and then just take loan on the without owning a proper business, and then they're just simply trying to take loans and making trade license, and everything is out there. So if someone wish to make trade license, the town committee will be coming and inspecting the particular business, the place, and they'll be taking photos, which is very good. Approve. Yeah. And this thing is usually available for Senapati people. It'll be in the description in the town committee's office. Yeah, of course, for every other states and districts. And we will be continuing with a very important thing that is known as the income tax return. This is a kind of a return or some proof to the system that you make money, and then that your business or you yourself make money and have a proper income tax filing, and something that is being implemented in the system. Yeah, that is also very important, which is necessary, and you need it for 2 years, which can be done from any chartered accountant. And also, I think income tax filing, I did my income tax filing in the past years by myself only. And yeah, I hate to break it to you, but I started my own income tax filing, which turns out to be not great. And I started filing from the chartered accountant or someone who knows their thing, because they have been studying their whole life about this income tax and everything. So it's best we go over there. They won't charge you much also, maybe 1500, 2000, 2500 at the most, but about 1500 only. So I think you better go and consult a someone who is really good and someone who is performing their profession. And yeah, before going any further, KYC, which is the most important, your PAN card, your Aadhaar card, yeah, something like that, self-attested. And of course, uh, I think this is one of the biggest topic that I should be explaining in this business loan, which is known as something known as rate quotation. And in this rate quotation, you have to understand, even if the bank agrees or trusted you, and if they're issuing the loan, they are not going to be giving you the cash in your account or any of your whatever account you have, even if even if your loan is being approved, it's gonna be transferred to someone else's account. This rate quotation, it can be someone who is in a bigger business, I should say, because someone who is a GST registered, the money will be transferred to their account. And I hate to break this to you, but there are banks that links up with some business owners who have some GSTs out there. They'll be transferring to their some random guy who is linked with the, yeah, but that's a fact. And it's very, but I have to speak the truth, no? Yeah. And they usually transfer it to them, and these people will be charging you some few percentage, 2%, maybe 1%, for transferring the money to their account and for withdrawing it to their name. But rate quotation is very important. I'll show you some few examples. It will be a list of whatever item you are buying or whatever upgrade you're having to your business. So it'll be list down, given by a bigger business owner, where he or the business owner will be selling you things, and every item will be listed down in a very proper way, and then that you have to be submitting that particular rate quotation to the bank. Yeah. And of course, there are different types of loan, and don't rush for loans. Or people simply go to the bank just in need of money, even if it's not a business related, or even if it's not something related to their business upgrading, or something that is not related to the business. But since business loan is one of the most common loan that is out there, and which is one of the easiest, not the easiest actually, but honestly some manipulations are there, and then since it is something that is easy to be availed, people usually go out for that, because some government schemes are really hard to get, and even for personal reasons also, they try to get business loans, which is something that I would not recommend. And I will also be covering lots of topic related to loans in the coming days, and then the exact loan that is important for you. And I will also be continuing why the local loan and then the bank loan, the local people who loans out to you, is good at times, and sometimes the bank loan is also better than the local loans in most of cases, which is also going to be explained in the coming days. And some important documents like the light bill, your bank statement, and your lease agreement for the particular business or the house that you're renting. And of course, this thing known as CIBIL score, which plays an important role in getting loans. But if it's your first time getting a loan, it usually is in 150, 151 something, usually starts like that. So the first loan, don't hesitate, to be the first loan. Since it's starting, I think it's okay to be letting them decide, do whatever they want in the sense, since it's your first loan, and since you're approaching, let's just say you're approaching a public bank, they will do the best for you, and of course believe in them. But there are also times, which will be covered in some other videos, where the business loan are being, since it is in less amount, it is being transferred into, called personal loan with higher interest. There may also be this thing, which will be covered in the other videos. But credit score is something very important. But if you're a first timer, this does not have a very big impact on the loan that you're, particularly the business loan that you're taking. But if you're already a person who have taken loan in the past days, and if you have not repaid it on time, and if you're not doing your duties on time, paying someone else's money which you have borrowed in time, then your credit score decreases, which is really bad, and which also affects the amount that you're going to be paying back in, percentage, because it might have higher percentage, and you may also not get a chance to get a loan if you have low credit score. So if you have ever taken loan, don't skip or do not have late payments. Make sure you pay the money on time, which will be very crucial in other part of the loans or the next loans that you're going to be taking in the future. And I want to be concluding with this: don't just take someone's money or some investor's money without investing anything from your side and starting a business. At least add some of your money, which will bring you more, the of course the courage comes from your ideas and then the everything, but having your own money into it, you take more responsibility, you're more curious, and you don't want your business to fail, and so many important factors. So at least have some of your money inside the business, which is really important, and that I would really want to conclude and tell everyone out there.